Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Waffle. I'm joined again by David. Welcome again, Dave.
Thank you very much. By popular demand.
By popular demand, slash, you might be able to work out wearing the same clothes, and we may have done a double bill. So whether you like it or
Yeah,
not, you're getting a
I'm
double
back
bill.
again.
And because we didn't have time on the last one to do some chip strategy chat, which I think would be interesting and quite timely, that's what we're going to do briefly, aren't we, Dave? So Um, I thought we'll start with Dave to talk about his chip strategy because mine is still probably a little bit more up in the air. Um, Particularly as I'm now wildcarded, it's like I'm committed to having to figure things out a little bit more as I go along. So, what are you thinking, Dave?
Yeah, so um, for context, I've already used the triple captain. I used that in game week 2, so I don't need to think about trying to fit that in anywhere. So yeah, I guess first thing to discuss is some people are thinking about either triple captaining or using the assistant manager chip in game week 24. Um, in terms of triple captaincy, I think if you've still got it, I would just get out of the way and use it on Salah, to be honest. He's in great form. Obviously, the last few, he's not been scoring as many, but he's still got good data. And
It's
I
in a
think
lot
if you've
of
got a double, yeah, if you've got a double with a player with in such good form, it's not ideal that they're both away and they're not the easiest fixtures, but because we've got so many chips to use up and not many doubles, I think it makes sense to use it then.
yeah.
And then in terms of using the assistant manager chip, then I don't hate it. There's a possibility that Spurs might get a double in game week 25. And if that's the case, I really like it as an option because essentially you'd start with either a slot or a Moyes for 24, and then you could use a transfer to change it to Ange for the double.
Hmm.
And then you basically are getting 5 fixtures out of the chip, and it's a really powerful chip. So I feel like if you can get as many fixtures as possible, that's really good.
Yeah.
The issue is we won't know about the Tottenham double until after game week 24. So you kind of have to take the risk. You have to be like, are they going to put the double for Tottenham in 25 or not when you do it? And that's basically dependent on, I think, Tottenham winning over the 2 legs against Liverpool. The first thing that impacted on it was their performance in Europe, and they won the match the other day, so that's kind of slightly increased the chances. But Tottenham would still need to beat Liverpool, and then it's still dependent on where the Premier League decides to put, where they decide to put the fixtures, basically.
Would you say
Um,
20% chance if you would chuck out a percentage?
I think that is actually I saw somewhere online that people were throwing that sort of percentage out. I don't know if it was Ben Crellin said it was about 20%.
Hmm.
Um,
Not terrible, is it?
no, it's not, and I feel like if you're already thinking about using the chip in 24 anyway, that
Yeah.
maybe pushes you to doing it.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, I prefer the idea of using it later in the season. So in terms of when I'm hoping to basically not use my free hit in that first blank in 29.
Mhm.
Um, those blanks are obviously provisional based on what people are predicting will happen in the cup matches. Um, but I'm hoping to be able to just use free transfers so I don't have to free hit in 29 because the blank's a lot bigger in 34. And I feel like it'll be more powerful to use a free hit then. So if it's possible, it's better to, I think, use free transfers to get yourself through 29. Even if you end up with 9 or 10 players, I probably would rather use the free hit in 34.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm hoping to basically wildcard straight out of that 29. So wildcard in 30.
Yeah.
So the idea is I can then use the transfers to get the best players for 29 in, even if I don't want them long term, and then just wildcard them out in 30.
The old dead end.
Uh, yeah, exactly. Dead end into it. And then the hope is to, although it's a few weeks later, which isn't ideal. I mean, you're wildcarding well before your bench boost.
Yeah, you got no worries, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, the hope is wildcard 30 and then bench boost in 33.
Mm.
And so it's quite a nice end to the season if you hold on to your chips. You get it's quite exciting as well. You get
Mm.
33 bench boost, 34 free hit, and then I'm thinking of probably using the assistant manager chip in 36, I think. So there's
Mhm.
another double in 36. Again, these are just predicted
Very
fixtures there at the
loose.
moment, but it's going to be a pretty big double. Um, I just quite like the idea of it'd be 36 to 38, so you're going to use it right at the end. It means that if you're not doing as well, you can take some risks and try and get the table bonus that they've got in it. So you could go for a team that's lower down in the table that you think could beat some bigger teams. There's obviously the theory that when teams don't really have much to play for at the end of the season, they're sort of on the beach and they end up losing matches they probably shouldn't lose. So you
Mm.
may be more likely to get those big
Yeah,
shocks and get some big points.
yeah.
Whereas if I'm doing as well as I'm doing at the moment, which fingers crossed I will, I'll probably just play it safer at that point. But at least I've then got the option at the end of playing it safe on a one of the best managers and best teams, or try and take a bit of a risk. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I quite like using it right at the end there, and I think it gives you an opportunity to see what the chip's about with other people using it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think had I not jumped to play my wild card, I would have been doing the same. Dead end 29, wild card 30. I think, like you say, bench boost 33 because it's close to the wild card. If it is a massive blank, free hit 34. I think what you said, system manager there, I really like the logic about because one, you get a double, and two, like you say, towards the end of the season, it's just the perfect time to see some upsets where teams chasing position in the table and other teams on the beach. There's always a few of those fixtures knocking around, aren't there, to capitalise on that bonus.
Yeah,
Um, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think for me, because I've already played my wild card, I'm just going to try and save up some free transfers, be a bit more disciplined. I think I'll be fine navigating 29 without any chip because the blanks, like as it stands, there's not going to be too many teams that I have that will be blanking. I don't think, and with the transfers I have in the locker, I think I'll be all right basically.
mm,
Um, and then yeah, obviously I can then have some time to work towards potentially a bench boost in 33 of my free transfers. Um, I always prefer playing my free hit in a double game week because of the old upside, increased
yeah,
upside, and it seems more fun. So I think my optimal plan, if it at all happens to be even achievable, is to somehow navigate through 34 as well.
okay.
And like, but then even then, because then if I played my free hit 36, I don't have the assistant manager. So I think it'll
Yeah,
probably,
that's the danger. You've got to basically,
yeah,
because the system manager's over 3 weeks, you have to make sure, and you
yeah,
can't use any other chips at the same time. You have to be quite careful that you don't
yeah,
put yourself in a position where you don't have time to use up all your chips.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, the reason I like free hitting in the blanks is there's also you don't want a situation where your free hit team gets less points than the team that you already had. And if it's a
yeah.
double game week where you didn't have many doublers and you're bringing in a load of doublers, then you're probably going to be up on points.
Hmm.
And similarly, if it's like a big blank game week and you've got loads of people blanking, you're making sure you're bringing in players who have the fixtures, then you should
Yeah.
theoretically make sure you get more points. That's why I never really like free hitting in a week where you're like, oh, my team doesn't look that great. I could make it look really good just in a single game week.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there's always a possibility that you end up with fewer points. And yeah, the free hit was terrible last season for a lot of people, but
Yeah.
generally speaking, if you play it in a blank, then you'll do all right.
Yeah, exactly. I think the upshot is you need to know roughly what you're doing now, don't you, in order to plan well. Because this game, Game Week 24 is a genuine consideration for for everyone to potentially play a chip like assistant manager. Like you say, Dave, I'm
Mm,
fully with you. Definitely play triple captain and 24. I think if you haven't already,
yeah.
on Salah. But otherwise, the assistant manager, little rogue assistant manager question I was going to ask you is.
Mm.
Is there any consideration, Dave, of a David Moyes in Game Week 24? And I'll tell you, I'll briefly pitch it to you, okay? The pitch is, you may have briefly thought about it or not even considered it. Home to Leicester's obviously a very nice fixture. There is like a pretty decent chance Everton get the win there. They're looking a bit better under Moyes, at least in that Spurs game. A few more goals maybe in the locker. And then it's home to Liverpool. They're big rivals. I think it's their last match at their stadium. Is it Goodison Park?
Goodison, yeah.
Um, so like the fans can be so up for it to try and get a result in that. Like even if they nick to draw, you get bonus. And then obviously you could look to then bring in a different manager for the next couple of game weeks. If Brighton v Chelsea have more than a five position thing, I've looked at this. I
Mm.
wouldn't hate a Hertzler. And then if you wanted to keep Hertzler for the week after, you got away to Southampton, who are the worst team in the league. So, what do you think about that potential rogue proposition, particularly if you're like me and you're chasing rank?
I think if you're chasing rank, I don't hate Moyes as a choice. I think with the table bonus, you can. I think Everton getting a draw against Liverpool is the same as Liverpool winning against another team. So there's huge upside there where even if you're just getting draws against big teams, then you're
Yeah,
going to get good points. Yeah, I mean, I obviously prefer the idea of using it later in the season, and I'm not sure these are the best, even for slot. I don't think these are the best fixtures. So if you're
I
choosing
agree.
slot, you kind of want because you're not getting that table bonus, you want pretty much guaranteed wins.
Yeah,
I see Bournemouth away as a very difficult fixture.
a nasty. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they drop points. Like you said, Everton, they're at home, final game there. Merseyside derby is always difficult.
yeah.
There's not actually been many goals in Merseyside derbies recently. I'm pretty sure Everton kept a clean sheet last year.
I mean, they could
Um,
even get clean sheet points for Moyes, but
yeah, and
yeah.
then Wolves is sort of so in terms of for Liverpool, like
If you were
Wolves is
getting that one, yeah.
yeah.
And then it's the
Uh,
problem is it's away to City, isn't it? If you could have played the assistant manager this week, that's just wonderful, isn't
I
it?
know a lot of
That's a
people
shame.
I saw were sort of saying, "Oh, I'm going to play in 23," and then obviously realize actually it's only coming into
Yeah,
action 24. Yeah, I don't hate it. I feel like 36 is just it's more exciting as well. There's
yeah,
you're going to get a huge bonus. Like it's always nice if you can have something that's at play in 38, which is going to give you an advantage.
yeah.
I don't know. It's quite fun the thought of being in your mini leagues and someone thinking they're going to beat you and them forgetting that you've got the assistant manager in place, and you just get like a rogue. I don't know what it'd be like. Yeah, Hertzler, we beat
Yeah,
Tottenham on the final day, and
yeah.
Hertzler wins you your mini league or something. I don't know. There's something quite fun
That's
about
the
that. Where it's
scenes. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, what do you
I like it a lot.
which manager do you like the look of if you were to play it between 36 and 38? I haven't really looked
Yeah.
at
No, neither have
who
I.
you want
I
someone who's doubling in 36 basically, at least at the beginning.
yeah, like City,
City
I
looks
quite
good there.
like because they've got their fixture run at the end of the season is unbelievable. Like I'm even going to be tempted to try and wangle Haaland back into my team for this run if City are looking incredible.
Yeah.
And for some reason they like if for some reason they pull back like the title push, if Liverpool drop 3 points, all of a sudden
Mm,
like anyway, that's maybe food for another day. But yeah, that run there is great, isn't it? Like they can win all of those games or here. Wolves, then they've got that one, and then they've got home to Bournemouth. So
yeah.
um, I quite like the look of that. Obviously, Liverpool isn't. I mean, that's not ideal if it was to be that.
Angela's
Um,
quite nice because they might get a table.
yes,
They might even get a table bonus if Palace do well.
yeah,
You got table bonus against Palace and Liverpool there. Quite
yeah.
nice.
Andrew's a shout, and even like Graham Potter, I don't hate. He's quite cheap. They're
Mm,
lower down the league. You know, if he starts getting West Ham playing well, I think
yeah.
West Ham could get a few table bonus points. So I have considered him, and Emery's really cheap, but he's not going to get much table bonus. So I don't. And Arsenal, I don't really
No,
trust that Saka, so I don't know if I'd go there.
he must be
Um,
back by then though, surely Saka. But yeah,
true.
I
Yeah.
feel like
Eddie Howe, Forest, a bit too high. Yeah.
you
I
want to
think.
go for the teams who are struggling but probably shouldn't be struggling, like a Tottenham. When they get their
Yeah.
players back, they should do better.
Exactly right. But yeah, I think if I was in your position, Dave, I think like you said, you want to. you want someone that looks more like a banker that's just going to keep you pushing those ranks, and someone like a Pep in this run here
It's
would
nice,
probably,
yeah.
providing City are obviously playing well and they've got stuff to play for and they're just looking amazing. Um, yeah, that's the sort of thing I think I'd do if I was you as well. If you're like me and you're chasing rank, they might be more scoped to have a bit more fun with a David Moyes or a Graham Potter or something, and just make
Yeah.
your rank even worse than it already is. So yeah, I think that's good, Dave. I think we could, unless you have anything else you wanted to chip in, I think we've pardon the
Yeah,
pun. I
I
think
think
we
it's good.
can. Yeah, happy days. Well, please like and subscribe if you like this content with the Praz that I know. And yeah, maybe we can do another one down the line, Dave. Maybe have your house move first. Do everything else. Maybe later in the season when some of these chips are coming more into play, we could always revisit potentially. But for now, yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been good chatting to you about this sort of thing, Dave.
Yeah, it's lovely to catch up. Cheers, James.
Always a pleasure. Right. Well, yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and look forward to catching you on whenever the next one is. Bye for now.